And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Sharda Naidoo to hold our conversation this morning. She's going to give us an introduction to the piece that she is going to talk to. And Sharda, wow, when I look at your resume, Sharda, every time I look at her, I get a little bit more intimidated and impressed in equal quantity. She's a development, an economic development specialist. And she's accumulated this experience around a range of really interesting sectors, the NGO sector, the consulting sectors, and having worked with the Cooperative Bank's Development Agency. She uses participatory tools, which are an important part, I think, of her work in the consulting space. And Sharda, I'm sure you'll use some of those tools in our conversation today. She's built a sound record of over 26 years of creating and managing successful programs in the donor community, public and private sectors. She has an MA in Development Economics from the University of Sussex, and she's fluent in English, as you'll hear, and is able to in Zulu and Tamil. And you need to know it is one of my life goals to learn how to speak the language of my ancestors before I die. So I'm very impressed that you do. Can I hand over to you, Sharda? And
absolutely.
We have a couple of slides which I'll guide us through, but perhaps you can just check in with our audience. We have a total of 21 participants on our call so far. Sharda.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kubeshni, Melissa, and Charmaine, for giving me this opportunity. Yesterday, I saw a medical practitioner that I see from time to time, and he said to me, how am I feeling during this time? And I said, well, when the second lockdown or the extension of the lockdown was announced, I started thinking. And then I thought about 2 or 3 things that I could do. And the minute I started thinking about other things, thinking about how I could support people out there, what I could do, my mood just lifted. So this is an enormous privilege for me to be here with all of you this morning. I'd just like to spend a few minutes hearing from you how you're feeling at this time. So unmute yourself, and if you would like to, please go ahead. Kubeshni, is that okay?
Fine.
Okay, anybody want to tell? Patricia, did you unmute your mic? Please go ahead.
I did, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yes, this has been quite an eye-opener in a sense of I'm in the property business and commercial property, and we work internationally, and we're busy with a major project in Southern Africa. And this lockdown has not actually affected me in any which way as far as my motivation goes, because I've been working on Zoom, having my meetings on Zoom, and been able to focus on our projects which are major in the food, water and power sector. So it's infrastructural stuff which in a time like this, what's going on, our crisis, what it can do, and the damage that's going to have a rippling effect. Our projects would be an amazing savior for job creation and work. So I'm quite exhilarated about that, despite the fact that we have the crisis in our country. So, I mean, and I have been, because when you are excited about something, you can instill confidence in people, because people have been very down, but you motivate them, and that's what
absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Patricia. Does somebody else want to tell us how you're feeling and what's happening with you? And you know what, if you're not exhilarated, if this is hitting you hard and you want to say that, please feel free to say that. This is a tough time.
Hi, Sharda. Hi, everybody. This is Malini Mukka. And I must say I've enjoyed this opportunity to be part of this initiative. Charmaine actually invited me. And I was saying to her, as a single mom, I've actually enjoyed this time, being at home being able to do a lot of other things and spend some quality time with my kids.
Lovely. Good. Thank you. Can we hear from one or two more people? Okay. Shall I move on then?
Well, I thought I would share a bit. This is Dudu.
Please do.
If I can go
Please
ahead.
do. Go ahead.
So it's lovely to be part of this platform, and just to have the, the sisterhood, which sometimes is important, particularly during this time. So for me, this lockdown came at a time when my contract with my organization was coming to an end. Which is now and in April. So whilst I'm quite excited to get back into marketing consulting and creative design and social media, I'm just a bit I'm starting to get concerned, obviously, because it's quite difficult to restart your business, given the constraints that we have.
Yeah.
So as I said, excited that I'm getting back into consulting, but it does mean that I have to be quite innovative, to get my business going.
Good. I hope you'll pick up some ideas and get a bit excited from our conversation today, Dudu.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to all the ideas.
Great. Good. And you have one more person before we move on?
Sharda?
I can't see your name, so please tell us your name.
Shunaz.
Hi. Hello, Shunaz.
Okay. Okay, for me, I struggled a bit in terms of lack of concentration and focus. And I continued working throughout the lockdown. So it was a period for me to catch up with work, but I found that I was not as productive as I would have liked. And then I realized that a lot of people are feeling that way, and just try to work through it and not taking downtime. And when I just moved away from work for a while, I was able to then just regain focus. So now that we're moving into the second part of lockdown and working in different ways, it's becoming easier.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I mean, I think that balancing and getting a sense of priorities is pretty important during this time. And I think that's what you're sharing with us, Shanaz. Okay, thank you. Kubeshni, can we move on to our slides, please?
We can. While I'm doing
Thank
that,
you.
from Faith, maybe you can just, when I'm sharing the screen.
Oh, Faith, hi. Please go ahead.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Faith. I've been invited by Kubeshni. I live in Saka, Zambia. And I met her. I used to work for Radisson Blue. And that's how I met Kubeshni. She was facilitating in a conference. And
okay.
Yes.
I think we've lost you, Faith.
I know her, and my background has been to an end last year. Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad to be on this platform. I'm just all ears. I just want to learn. That's all.
Lovely, thank you. Are you in Zambia now, or do you live here in South Africa?
I beg your pardon? I'm in Zambia.
Do you live here in South Africa
Yeah,
now?
Lusaka.
You're in Lusaka.
Yeah.
Wow, welcome from Lusaka. Wow, this has become an international platform. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Lovely. Okay, let me just quickly run through. Kubeshni, do you want to go to
Yes,
slide?
yes.
Can everybody see my
So,
screen?
yeah, sorry, you're breaking, but it's okay. You go ahead. I'll listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Kubeshni, can we go to slide 2, please?
Yep. Give me a second.
Okay, there we go. All right. So the things we're going to talk about are why women in the economy matter. There's been learning that I might add is not new learning, but is very significant learning about women in the economy. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then I want to just focus a little bit on where we are in South Africa and some of the specific issues that we face. Then I'm going to move into the insights of business, talking about key aspects of business, looking at management strategy, operations or production, finance, and markets. Next slide, please, Kubeshni. And starting with some of the key priorities, yeah? What do you think is the most important thing around women and business during this time of, or the era of COVID-19? Anybody want to venture an answer? Okay. The most important thing during this time is taking care, each person, each of us, taking care of ourselves. Because when we think about women especially, women take care of everybody else, and they will take care of their jobs, and they will take care of children, the house, and everything else. And during this particular time, which comes with so many challenges at so many levels, making sure that you are giving yourself time and that you really are being taken care of, that's going to be the strength that's going to enable you and your household and everyone that depends on you to move forward. Okay? The thing about business continuation during this time is that, you know, when I looked at what all the experts are saying about continuing with business during that time, what I came up against was this, well, everybody's going, we'll go online. Now, for some businesses, it's possible to go online. It's possible to continue. And in some cases, that's very, very difficult. And so we're going to talk about, the last slide deals with things you can do with if you can't continue with business right now, okay? And so placing women in the economy is that women participate in every single phase of the economy. Because even if a woman is staying at home and, you know, people go, oh, she doesn't work. Well, she is working, and she's working all the time if she's staying at home most of the time. And sorry, I saw a question then, my head went to that. So whatever women are doing, it's part of the economy, because having a clean house, having the washing done, having food cooked, taking care of children are all key facets of the economy, and everything matters. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Then balancing the scale is about self-care, but it's also a balance between giving and taking. I read a wonderful book during the holiday. I bought it some months before, and it was only when I took 5 days of silence that I actually had time to read the book. It's called The Art of Asking, and it's by a woman who's a punk rock singer called Amanda Palmer. there's a wonderful TED talk by Amanda Palmer that you can go and look at. And the striking things about her book are about the balance between giving and taking that she brings into the way she practices her art. And Amanda, besides being a lovely singer, writer, and poet, Amanda Palmer's claim to fame is that she raised the largest amount via crowdfunding, which was 1.2 million US dollars. And she didn't just ask people for money, she had packages of what she offered. And I think that's that's really what she taught me about the art of asking. What are you giving? How are you packaging it? And what's the nature of the deal? And, I often talk about because I work in development, I say that when government gives people things, they don't actually communicate the nature of the contract. And in all our dealings, whether there's a written or spoken or unwritten or unspoken contract, there is a kind of contract in all forms of human relations. And so, balancing that contract actually makes for much more ease in terms of giving and receiving. Do you want to move to the next slide, please, Shama? Thank you. Okay. So I have. Now, I've done studies on women in the economy and I've applied them in different countries. And some of the key things that come out in addition to women's work always being present is that women have ended up in many places having unequal access to resources, especially economic resources. And the consequence of this has been that it leads to lower growth. Now, there are various chains through which this ends up happening, but the final result is, and I'm sure all of you hear anything from an economist and it's about, oh, we need growth to become higher. Yeah. My new line is we need spending to be more effective, especially in South Africa, because lots and lots of money is being spent. And if we paid attention to the results or the impact of that spending, we would be getting a lot further in South Africa. But when women have unequal access to resources, it has very negative consequences across all the backwards and forward linkages and the economic chain. Lack of access to education has negative consequences for children's health and children's education. Just at a very basic example, if a woman is illiterate, she will go to the doctor. It's very difficult for her to go in and choose which patent medicine to buy. So healthcare is more expensive. She can't read the labels or understand how to administer patent medicine. And the children of educated mothers have support in the household. They study for longer hours and they perform better at school. And from an economic perspective, that has consequences for the quality of labor, to put it quite bluntly. Yeah. Unequal pay. There's only one study I've done that I've come across that looks at what are the economic consequences of unequal pay for equal work. The result that came out of the one study, which was based on Kenya, was that if men and women were paid equal pay for equal work, then the economy of Kenya would grow 6% faster. And Kenya is one of the more rapidly growing economies on this continent. So, you know what? Just tell the guys out there, right? Every time they shortchange a woman, they're shortchanging themselves, they're shortchanging their business, and they're shortchanging the country. That's the bottom line. Okay, thank you.